Welcome to a journey where art and imagination reshape the world. Here, stories unfold about visionaries who saw design as the seed for possibility. On this channel, you'll explore how creativity and freedom shape everything around us. If you're inspired by artistic revolutions, remember to like and subscribe. Supporting helps these stories continue to grow and reach dreamers everywhere. In this episode, we unlock the origins of Dutch, design revealing how geometry and harmony became guiding lights for a new world. You'll discover how radical ideas, driven by the pursuit of freedom and experimentation, transformed furniture, architecture, and even everyday objects. Together, we'll explore the birth of a movement where powerful simplicity sculpted the language of modern style. Chapter 1. The Style Movement, Geometry and Purity. In the echo of the early 20th century, a quiet revolution stirred in the Netherlands. Artists felt restless with old traditions, searching for a distilled clarity in their work. The streets and studios of Amsterdam, Leiden and beyond buzzed with the promise of new visual rules. This was not just art, but a quest for perfect balance in a harmonious world. Bold minds like Piet Mondrian and Gerrit Rietveld saw potential in the simplest forms. They believed that a pure rectangle or a vivid streak of red could speak to our deepest sense of harmony. Abandoning ornament and flourish, they pared down everything to lines and flat blocks of primary colour. Their vision invited others to imagine a world arranged by logic and clarity, where everything had its reason and polarity. The roots of the style appeared in manifestos and studios. Artists gathered in smoky rooms, debating how to strip art to its very skeleton. What remained was geometry grids of black, yellow, blue and white, each shape carefully chosen. Their work was less about portraying the world, and more about inventing a new one. Each canvas and chair radiated a call for order, purity and radical freedom through reduction. Imagine a chair as just lines and planes a single object, yet a blueprint for a fresh, uncluttered society. Rietvald's famous red and blue chair hovered between sculpture and furniture, challenging the boundaries of function. Meanwhile, Mondrian's canvases pulsed with the energy of primary colours, becoming spiritual landscapes. De Stijl's artists invited viewers to see beauty in simplicity, to find freedom by clearing away the noise. This pursuit went beyond aesthetics. For these designers, geometry was a philosophy. They dreamed that if every home, street and object obeyed pure, balanced rules, society itself would become new and peaceful. Their radical vision proposed that shapes and lines could bring people closer, resonating with universality. De Stijl's revolution stretched past art, aiming to rebuild how communities lived and interacted using the language of clarity. De Stijl's legacy still glows in every crisp corner and bold colour block we see today. The movement's daring simplicity created a powerful blueprint for future design, where freedom was won not through abundance, but through beautiful restraint. As we continue through this story, keep in mind the courage it took to clear the canvas, trusting that sometimes less truly is more. The next chapter explores how Dutch design evolved, after Dutch design evolved, after De Stijl evolved, after De Stijl's bold declaration. Chapter 2. Post-war design function and simplicity. As the rubble of war slowly cleared in the Netherlands, a quiet revolution began to stir within homes and city streets. Designers and architects were inspired to rebuild, not with grand gestures, but through thoughtful restraint. Their focus turned to clean lines, honest materials, and spaces that welcomed everyday life. The vision was clear: make beauty accessible, making use of less, while infusing each object with meaning. Emerging from hardship, Dutch society found hope and purpose in creating useful things. Ordinary object stables, chairs, even lamps were stripped of unnecessary detail. Instead, they revealed their purpose with a quiet confidence. This approach was not just practical, but poetic. New designs spoke of resilience, offering comfort and familiarity as people set about rediscovering what mattered. In post-war recovery, function and simplicity became the signature notes of Dutch creativity. Post-war architects sought to heal broken cities, turning to clear shapes and strong forms. Buildings became sanctuaries of light and openness, places where people could breathe and move freely. There was intention behind each wall and window, clarity replaced clutter, and every inch counted toward a better life. This change signalled optimism, belief that thoughtful surroundings could nurture a renewed, hopeful society. Thus began a new era for Dutch spaces and spirits alike. In kitchens and living rooms, design simplified daily tasks. Cabinets and surfaces unfolded with purpose. Lines ran uninterrupted, and every tool had its place. It was a vision of harmony, where comfort did not require excess. This sense of order and elegance gave routines a gentle rhythm. Even the smallest details reflected the ideals of clarity and utility. The Dutch ethos of making life smoother and more beautiful resonated in households across the country. Furniture designers embraced innovations that honoured both tradition and change. Iconic chairs, tables and lamps began to appear in Dutch home spaces that balanced sturdy craftsmanship with modern lines. Unadorned wood, smooth metal and simple fabrics expressed a new honesty. Creative thinkers championed the idea that every object could be essential and lovely. Thus, Dutch interiors served as a canvas for a new dialogue between pragmatism and imagination. Public spaces reflected this design revolution too. Parks, schools, bus shelters, each was newly shaped by the hands of post-war visionaries. They favoured open plazas and welcoming facades. Their work celebrated community and accessibility, using plain but skillful construction. Every bench, path and brick hinted at respect for shared life. The Dutch commitment to functional beauty transformed not just private spaces, but the public heart of the nation. Function and simplicity were never cold or austere in the hands of Dutch designers. Instead, these qualities brought warmth and hope. Even in the quietest room, careful proportions and gentle lines invited calm. Light streamed through wide windows, filling spaces with softness. Everyday moments, preparing meals, reading letters, gathering with family were held within these considered designs. There was a subtle artistry in making life comfortable and clear. Ultimately, post-war Dutch design offered more than practical solutions. It embodied the spirit of renewal. Every object, from a porcelain cup to a city park, radiated dignity and optimism. The guiding principle thus but better reflected the belief that simplicity could heal, inspire and uplift. By reimagining the world with restraint and vision, Dutch designers helped shape an age of possibility, making the ordinary quietly extraordinary for generations to come. Chapter 3. Architecture for the People. Modern living. In the heart of the Netherlands, a bold architectural vision blossomed. City skylines transformed as glass and concrete opened up new spaces for communities to thrive. Homes became sanctuaries of light, designed for comfort and togetherness. Architects set out to elevate daily life through thoughtful planning and modern aesthetics, making each structure not only functional but a celebration of creativity and freedom. As Dutch architects ventured beyond tradition, they shaped entire neighbourhoods that welcomed everyone. Wide windows framed open courtyards, bringing the outside world into daily life. Streets grew vibrant and accessible, lined with human-centred buildings. With every new design, the emphasis was on improving well-being and fostering connection. This architectural revolution let both residents and visitors experience the joys of living in spaces built for people first. Innovation echoed from city centres to tranquil towns. New housing blocks rose gracefully, their forms inviting and harmonious with the landscape. Communal gardens and green roofs softened the urban fabric. Inside, airy layouts filled homes with daylight while providing privacy and function. Architects considered both the spirit and comfort of their inhabitants, proving that creativity could be a force for social change, shaping not just how people lived, but how they connected. Public spaces in Dutch cities became open, energetic landscapes. Architecture invited people to gather, linger and interact. Parks, plazas and markets offered freedom of movement and a sense of belonging. These spaces were crafted with a vision of inclusivity, efficient, beautiful, and accessible to all. Dutch modernism inspired the idea that architecture could transform society by prioritizing communal life, creativity, and harmony between people and place. The details mattered. Designers used bright accents and clever arrangements to enliven daily routines. Doorways welcomed, windows inspired, everything was carefully chosen to serve, uplift, and delight its residents. With each innovation, architecture became more than shelter, it became an art form woven seamlessly into everyday existence. The Dutch pursuit of clarity, simplicity, and livability made ordinary moments extraordinary through thoughtful design at every level. As the 20th century unfolded, the line between indoor and outdoor living blurred. Dutch architects played with light and openness, sculpting interiors that felt both private and free. Neighbourhoods thrived with shared courtyards, communal balconies, and multifunctional spaces. Creativity was not reserved for museums or galleries. It shaped kitchens, hallways, and even stairwells. Every person could take pride in the artistry and innovation at the core of their homes, Architecture became a mirror held up to society's dreams and concerns. The Dutch focused on how design could support happiness, health, and equality. Housing was no longer an exclusive privilege, but a social right. Through experimental forms and egalitarian ideals, buildings welcomed a diversity of lives within their walls. Each project was an act of optimism, proof that when the environment adapts for the people, creative progress flourishes for all. The Dutch approach to architecture inspired cities far beyond their borders. The idea that design should be generous, imaginative, and rooted in human needs resonated worldwide. Modern living was no longer defined just by appearance, but by the feeling a space could offer: light, openness, and connection. In the Netherlands, the geometry of creativity became inseparable from daily routines, enriching the world one building, one street, one home at a time. Chapter 4: Graphic Identity. Dutch branding worldwide. Dutch design has always reached beyond physical objects, shaping how we recognise and remember brands everywhere. In this chapter, we step into the world of graphic identity. Here, Dutch designers transformed bold shapes, clean lines, and vivid colour into unmistakable visual signatures, making logos and posters that capture the spirit of innovation and clarity. Their vision turned graphic design into something both iconic and global. Flat colours and simplicity may look effortless, but they sprang from daring creative choices. Dutch graphic identity masters used these elements to break boundaries. Their work didn't just represent companies, it defined entire eras of visual culture. From instantly familiar logos to unforgettable campaign posters, every element was crafted to create lasting impressions. As we unravel these designs, notice how freedom and experimentation shaped the recognisable look seen around the world. Dutch graphic design was more than decoration. It was a visual language formed in the studios of visionaries like Wim Krul, Anton Beek, and Gert Dunbar. Their approach embraced reduction and clarity while challenging conventional expectations. By focusing on boldness and simplicity, they elevated everyday brands into works of art. Their posters and corporate identities influenced not only the Netherlands, but also inspired countless global campaigns over decades. One reason Dutch branding stands apart is its playfulness. Designers often wove wit and clever surprise into every composition. You might see overlapping letters forming puzzles, or unexpected colour combinations sparking curiosity. This sense of experimentation pushed the limits of what logos could do. Through their imaginative ideas, Dutch designers found ways to grab attention while never sacrificing function or readability, leaving a memorable stamp on visual culture. Flat colour fields and geometric shapes became the backbone of Dutch visual identity. Logos, like the iconic Randstad or KLM's Royal Blue Mark, were born from this philosophy. No embellishment, just pure essence, communicated at a glance. These choices carried meaning across languages and borders. The result was a visual identity so strong and clear, anyone could recognise these brands seven from afar, or with just a quick look. Posters were a canvas for Dutch ingenuity. Each was designed to speak boldly, whether for music festivals, public services, or iconic events like the Olympics. The composition and colour arrangements were carefully chosen, always with a sense of proportion and rhythm inspired by de Stijl. With minimal text, these posters could tell stories instantly. They created moods and ideas as vivid and lasting as the brands they represented. Dutch graphic design's power lies in its universal language. This approach was tailored not to a single country, but to a world of diverse viewers. As global companies sought fresh ways to be seen, they turned to Dutch studios for reinvention. International campaigns, airline identities, and even tech branding owe much to the principles born in Dutch workshops: simplicity, directness, and a sense of daring that stretches visual boundaries. Today, the world is filled with echoes of Dutch graphic identity. Whether on city streets or digital screens, you'll find visual DNA shaped by pioneers who valued clarity and creativity. Their choices invite us to look closer and imagine more. As brands continue to evolve, the enduring influence of Dutch graphic design reminds us that the simplest forms can spark the boldest ideas, leaving a mark that transcends borders and generations. Chapter 5. The Design Mentality. Practical Creativity. In the heart of the Netherlands, creativity and practicality form an unbreakable bond. Here, design is not just about objects, but about solving problems and exploring bold ideas. The Dutch grasp that beauty and usability must walk hand in hand, a mindset born from a landscape shaped by necessity and ingenuity. This spirit sets the stage for a journey into the world where art and innovation merge seamlessly. Step inside renowned Dutch design schools, where curious minds gather amidst vivid sketches and prototypes scattered across sunlit studios. In these spaces, experimentation reigns supreme. Teachers encourage students to embrace mistakes as stepping stones, nudging them to question the ordinary. Workshops buzz with invention and friendly rivalry as students challenge the boundaries of form and function. It is here the seeds of practical creativity take root, nurtured by a culture that welcomes new ideas with open arms. Venture beyond the walls of the classroom to the lively workshops scattered throughout Dutch cities. These creative hubs echo with laughter and the hum of tools, a place where seasoned artisans and young thinkers share ideas freely. The Dutch believe that collaboration sparks originality. In this environment, boundaries between disciplines blur and unexpected friendships flourish. Playfulness and cooperation are celebrated, igniting sparks that lead to surprising inventions and timeless creations. Dutch design thrives on simplicity. Here, less is not only more, it is everything. Designers pare down concepts to their essence, using clean lines and honest materials. Yet, simplicity never means boring. Instead, a sense of play brings life to each detail. Surprising pops of colour, clever twists in shape, and practical solutions invite curiosity and delight. This blend of clarity and delight. Resourcefulness is woven into the very fabric of the Dutch approach. With limited resources and ever-changing landscapes, designers learn to make much from little. Everyday items become ingenious tools, and overlooked materials are transformed into objects of beauty and purpose. This knack for reinvention is a hallmark of Dutch creativity, showing that constraints can inspire rather than limit those who dare to look differently at the world. Stories abound of inventors tinkering late into the night, architects scribbling on napkins, or designers sketching ideas while gazing across bustling canals. Each vignette adds to a rich tapestry of practical creativity. Dutch design is never finished. It is in constant dialogue with both past and future. Today's visionaries are inspired by yesterday's rebels as they revise, refine, and reimagine what is possible in a changing world. Boundaries are meant to be blurred in the Dutch design mindset. Furniture might become art. A logo might become a playful puzzle. A public bench might invite conversation and community. This refusal to accept fixed definitions stirs innovation. Experimentation is more than encouraged, it is essential. In every project, big or small, the Dutch designer asks, what if things could be better, smarter, more human? Each answer sparks the next question in a cycle of creativity. As we close this chapter, consider how these lessons in Dutch practical creativity echo beyond design studios and city borders. The willingness to combine imagination with clear purpose, to collaborate and to celebrate resourcefulness. These ideals inspire designers everywhere. Whether inventing a new tool or rethinking the ordinary, the Dutch approach reminds us that design can shape not just objects, but the very way we think about the world and the future waiting to be created. Chapter 6. Design Icons. From chairs to city planning. Imagine a journey across time where each shape and colour has a story. Dutch design is renowned for icons that are more than just objects. They invite us to sit, connect, and imagine better cities. In this chapter, we encounter legendary creations, from timeless furniture to city layouts that choreograph daily life with creativity and order. We begin with the Rietveld chair, an emblem of the Gestageal movements, clarity and freedom. Its intersecting planes and bold colours captured a new language promise that furniture could become modern art, with each angle reflecting courage and experiment. The chair was more than a place to rest. It sparked a revolution, inspiring generations of designers to shape the spaces where life unfolds. Other icons soon followed, spanning the playful and the practical. Consider the witty designs of Droog, which transformed everyday objects like a teapot or lamp into visions of whimsy and wonder. These pieces blurred boundaries between art and use, encouraging us to question, smile, and interact. Dutch creativity thrived on this border, treating each object as an opportunity for imagination. Beyond furniture, Dutch design's creative impulse swept into the streets themselves. Legendary landscape architects envisioned city squares and bicycle paths that welcomed movement and gathering. Clever street layouts, adapted for cycling and pedestrian flow, became as iconic as any chair embodying the Dutch belief in communities designed for freedom, harmony, and the shared rhythms of daily life. Some of the Netherlands' most enduring icons are infrastructural marvels. Modular bus shelters, flexible bridges, and smart water barriers highlight the blend of practicality and beauty. Each solution is carefully considered for movement of people, water, or light, mirroring a nation that thrives on innovation. These designs reveal how creative thinking can address challenges, large and small, with elegance and impact. City planning, too, bears the Dutch creative signature. Modern neighbourhoods such as Almere and Houten are conceived as living systems, balancing nature and humanity. Streets flow like gentle rivers, public spaces invite gathering, and the interplay of colour encourages optimism. Here, the city itself is an icon, a living canvas, offering every resident a role in a perpetual experiment of form and function. Behind every design icon lies a story of freedom of breaking boundaries, inviting curiosity, and trusting in the power of simple forms. Whether a chair, a bridge, or a map, Dutch icons echo the country's pursuit of meaning through function. They invite people to feel, to wonder, and to participate in the artistry of the everyday. The ordinary becomes extraordinary by design. These Dutch icons, from humble chairs to master-planned cities, stand as symbols of a national spirit that values openness, experimentation, and joy in living. Each iconic form is a thread in the ongoing tapestry of Dutch design, connecting generations across time. Through thoughtful creation, the Dutch transform their world, offering inspiration for anyone who dreams of a life where creativity shapes every space. Chapter 7. Legacy: Dutch Design as a Global Influence. The story of Dutch design does not end within the borders of the Netherlands. Its echoes linger and travel, inspiring generations far beyond its origin. In corners of modern architecture, in the bold marks of global brands, and in spaces built for calm clarity, the Dutch spirit of creativity radiates outward, transforming cities and mindsets wherever its influence finds a home. From the geometric lines of De Stijl to the soft curves of today's minimalist interiors, Dutch design weaves a continuous thread through history. What began as an experiment in function and form now shapes the face of cityscapes across continents. Museums showcase Dutch pieces, but the true legacy is a live scene in street furniture, urban parks, and buildings that glow with simplicity and intention, echoing a universal desire for spaces that welcome and inspire. Each decade, new voices emerge, building on Dutch traditions yet daring to push boundaries. International designers study the clarity and discipline of Dutch work, adopting principles of economy with beauty. This vision has become a language without barriers, shapes distilled to their essence, colour used with purpose, and every element serving both people and place. Dutch design's global influence is not just observedite, is loved and lived around the world. In Japan, Scandinavian countries, and the heart of North America, echoes of Dutch ingenuity are everywhere. Companies seek out collaboration with Dutch designers to inject a sense of freshness and clarity into products' lighting, furniture, and even digital interfaces. The careful balance between rational planning and playful experimentation that defines Dutch thinking becomes a blueprint for creative cultures worldwide, spreading a message: design is for everyone, everywhere. Contemporary brands often trace their clean lines and bold visuals back to Dutch pioneers. From airline graphics to sportswear logos, that DNA of functional beauty persists. It's a legacy that shifts and adapts, proving design is never static. Even as new trends emerge, the core remains, a belief in bright ideas, social responsibility, and making the world not only practical, but poetic. Dutch design's legacy is both foundation and springboard. The global embrace of functional minimalism speaks to a universal craving for spaces and objects that serve with grace. Dutch design teaches that less can be more, that restraint in materials and colour unlocks greater creativity. As cities and companies seek sustainability, it is the Dutch example of smart, people-centred solutions that sets the pace, creating beautiful answers to everyday needs, while also nurturing a sense of play and discovery in the process. This enduring legacy thrives on adaptability. The language of Dutch design continues to evolve, welcoming young innovators who reimagine tradition with digital tools and sustainable materials. In every reinvention, the heart of Dutch design remains, a championing of clarity, function, and a belief that creativity should serve society. As generations add their mark, the legacy grows even brighter, holding space for daring ideas and practical solutions side by side. In the end, Dutch design is more than an aestheticit, is a promise that better ways are always possible. The chapter closes with a vision of design as an ever-evolving language, carrying forward values of freedom, experimentation, and well-being. In a world faced with new challenges, Dutch design stands as an invitation to think boldly, design wisely, and create a future where art and life move together in harmony.